It's time once again for another episode of Georgia Business Radio. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now here's your host, Rich-Casanova.
All right, we're set for another exciting episode of the Georgia Business Radio Show, broadcasting live from our Buckhead studios here in the Pro Business Channel studio, overlooking our $1 million view of Buckhead, or at least $500,000. We've never actually done a study on that, but we're going to call it $1 million. And a returning guest joining us in the studio, Trace Crow. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Right,
doing
always
great.
Unbelievable. You're looking younger than last time.
Oh, thank you so much. I doubt that's true.
It's good for radio.
Yeah, it's good for radio. Yeah.
So, you've been in here a number of times with the Ritz Group and some other conversations we've had over the period of time. But you're going to be talking to us today about?
The Georgia State University Small Business Development Center. I'm a business consultant over there.
Okay.
We offer free business consulting for small businesses.
Wait, rewind. What did you say was the cost on that?
Yeah, it's free. Yeah,
wow.
Totally free. Well, you've already paid for it with your tax dollars.
Right, yeah.
You prepaid it.
Right, yeah. But there are, and we want to definitely delve into that, but there's so many resources for businesses that you just don't really realize they're out there, like the SBA and SCORE, and in your case, talking to us about the USBDC or?
The SBDC,
right,
yeah.
Just that was a quick check to make sure you all right, so we'll look forward to that conversation, but if you would, maybe before we jump into our first guest, let folks know how would they find out about your group and the organization there.
Just go to georgiasbdc.org.
Okay, perfect. All right, so Trace, hang tight. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Our first guest joining us in the studio, Kate-Atwood. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're doing amazing work here in the Atlanta community. Let's kind of jump into it. So you're the Vice President of Choose Atlanta?
Correct.
Okay.
Vice
That's
President.
one of the hats that you wear.
Yes.
Okay, but you're also the founder of?
Kate's Club.
Yeah.
Which is a nice, wonderful founding story that it basically led me to be leading ChooseATL in that initiative. So
nice.
Atlanta's been good to me.
We have a long bio. We'll post the entire bio. I'm just looking at it. Wow, I didn't practice this beforehand. So we'll post the entire bio on the show notes. But let's hit some of these points here. So as you mentioned, you're an entrepreneur, a community leader who's built a career on heading up social impact initiatives, both on the nonprofit and for-profit sectors. 2002, you founded Kate's Club, a nationally acclaimed not-for-profit based here in Atlanta that provides support to children and teens facing life after the death of a parent or sibling. So very inspirational work, obviously, you've been doing since 2002. And so tell us a little bit about that organization before we kind of jump into some other segments here.
Sure. Kate's Club is an organization I started off based on the direct loss of my mother when I was 12 years old. As a young gal growing up, when my mom died, I kind of looked around and was like, whose mom dies? Cinderella and Snow White were really the only people that I knew.
Right.
And as I got older, I realized it's actually more common than one would expect. 1 in 20 kids will lose a parent or a caregiver before they reach 18. Our culture is just not very open about it.
Right.
So understanding that facing that adversity and that trauma is life-changing for kids, I wanted to build a place for them to come together, to support each other, to learn healing and, coping, but also ultimately to be empowered for all the life that they had to live. So that was the genesis of Kate's Club. I started it very young. I was 23 years old. I had no money, no credentials. I had a bar night and raised $1,200. And really through just the support of the Atlanta community, it's grown to be really the largest bereavement support organization for kids in the region.
Wow.
So.
That's definitely impressive. And I was going to chat with you in the lobby beforehand. We didn't get a chance to chat, but believe it or not, we've met each other briefly in the past. And it may have been at that event because back in the day, I wasn't 23 at the time, but in Atlanta back in the day, I actually DJ'd. I was a mobile DJ and DJ'd your event at the Park Tavern, I believe it was.
Oh,
Was that
Oh
the
my
was that the
gosh.
first one,
It
or that was
wasn't
a
the
series?
first one.
Yeah.
That was we'd grown
I was
a
gonna
little
tell you
bit
beforehand,
at that
but
point.
yeah.
No, my gosh, no, and it really was the generosity of people like you, Rich, that just
Yeah.
said, you know what, this thing is a little engine that could. We were a scrappy startup, like most are,
Oh, yeah.
but because the need was not being met, and the Atlanta community saw the opportunity, I think from day one, it's been really amazingly supported.
And I think,
And unfortunately grown.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's one of those things like you don't like that you have growth,
Right,
but
yeah.
then it's
but
a
you're reaching
necessary-
and doing. I think. Oh, I know the reason I was inspired and at that time, like I said, running a DJ company, contributed our services. I lost both my parents at a very young age as well, so it just really resonated. And when I saw you were going to be a guest on the show, I'm like, wow! Fast forward to get a chance to chat with Kat, get caught up, even though we you probably don't remember. It was just a brief moment there, but I do want to talk about now. Fast forward to up to say 2015. So you joined the Metro Chamber and recently led Choose Atlanta to the platform as vice president, we mentioned. So talk to us about your role there.
Yeah, so about 5 months ago, I joined the Metro Atlanta Chamber to build and lead the ChooseATL platform, which is a new initiative launched to attract and retain millennial talent to the Metro region.
Okay.
It's really, I like to kind of say, it's kind of the next generation of economic growth and development. If we want to be able to attract business and be the strongest business community, not just in, America, but in the world, we've got to be able to answer that with having the top talent here as well. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to share the Atlanta story, all the amazing things that are happening here, not just from an industry perspective, but from a culture perspective, the features, the Beltline, Pont City Market, all these things that the world needs to know about. I get the job to tell that story and to go out and showcase Atlanta to the world, to the next generation.
And talk to us about the following statements of what they have in common, right?
Okay.
Is this ranked as number one moving destination in 2014? Number two, city of millennials. Number four, Metro Atlanta with fastest growing young population. And the fifth, Metro Atlanta for job growth, 2013-14.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
There is really something special, I think, happening in Atlanta right now, and the startup community and ecosystem is as strong as ever, as well as our companies and kind of our industry strongholds, if you will. And the future is how those will work together, along with our academic, ecosystem too. Our Georgia Tech is just kind of killing it out there for tech. So it's all these pieces that are working together. And to be more powerful and to really be able to go out and have, intentional growth of our city, ChooseATL is just the platform that's trying to galvanize all of that effort. But we have these leading rankings that are, again, just helping with the seals of credibility and making my job a lot easier.
Exactly, yeah.
That's for sure.
Because you talked about startups and the ecosystem and the incubators. It wasn't too long ago before we launched the studio here. Was involved in some other ventures, and I was looking for actually a startup space, right? Incubator space. And at that time, I went all over the internet and tons of due diligence and came up with maybe 6, right? And we've had the folks in here from what's the go-to platform, Hippopotamus, talking about the incubator space. Now there's, right out our window, obviously, is Atlanta Tech Village. And David Cummings kind of, began that snowball effect to really kind of put it on the map, because there was a lot of other ones, maybe those handful. But once that took off, there's now, I think the latest statistic from Hippopotamus is 33 incubators now in the city. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay, so I also saw in the notes here, before we jump back to Choose Atlanta, that in 2010 you served the executive director for Arbys Foundation. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so in between.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Like I said, I've had Atlanta has delivered me a really awesome opportunity to have a career in social impact. And Arbys, at the time was going through kind of a brand turnaround. And the CEO at the time was interested in really kind of pulling the charitable lever a little bit more to help be more aligned with the brand. So I went in and kind of relaunched the foundation to be just a cause that was more aligned with the brand. And so it was a great, that's why I'm still very much a startup kind of builder person.
Right.
But this was more of an entrepreneur opportunity, and to be a part of that brand turnaround. Arbys is killing it now. So I may have just had a little piece.
Or did you help bring those new sliders sliders to the market? Those were good. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not. That was not my role, but I was certainly a cheerleader all along the way. But that brand is such a great story for a company 50 years old that has really regained its relevance in the past few years. And I think that them showing up in the market as a brand that cared and was making a difference certainly was a great halo effect, and I was just honored to be a part of that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was during this era. I think it was later, just more recently, that you may or may not be aware. But speaking of millennials and Arbys being more relevant, there was a great story maybe a couple of years ago where Pharrell used to wear that big hat, right? Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah, I was there for that.
Tell me your version of the story, because
it was amazing, and the leadership at the time. I think one of the great kind of nuggets of that story was that the leadership at the time knew the opportunities of these live events, and what could happen in social media, and really gave the power to our social media team to just watch and trusted them with kind of that control, because social media, it is a little bit of a wild card. And so, but that dropped us back into the conversation. That tweet definitely did. And
I understand it came from an intern or a millennial that was just watching it live and said, "What, Pharrell, give Arbys their hat back, right?"
Yeah. Hey, Pharrell, can we have our hat back?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it looked pretty much exactly the same.
And I think,
I think it went to a donation. He donated it for charity or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
That was a great story, and I think from there, Arbys just kind of was able to draft off of that type of conversation in social media. They really found a voice and a tone, which I think a lot of their competitors were losing that while they were gaining it.
So would you tweet somebody, "Can we get our PBC mug back?" Whatever. Would that get any traction? I don't know. All right. So meanwhile, besides those stories, iconic in terms of branding and marketing and the millennial, but giving, like you said, from the executive position to give them that latitude, because that is kind of a dicey situation potentially, right?
Yeah, social media, I think you have to be very strategic and aligned for sure as a brand, and I think that Arbys was at that place that they could allow that to happen. But that's really what we've got to now do with Atlanta, and that's ChooseATL is really about how does Atlanta want to show up in the world for this next generation? We know we've evolved, but the millennials, there's different things that millennials, are important to them.
So talk to us about this Atlanta and attending the SXSW.
South by. South by Southwest. Yeah, it's really the premier event, that focuses on film, music, and interactive. It's huge. It's in Austin, Texas. It's about 2 weeks. And these are all industries that are very, very important to Atlanta. Obviously, our film industry is booming now. Interactive and tech is as well, just kind of taking off. So we thought it would be great to really have South by be almost this kind of coming out party, this activation for ChooseATL, where we're out there showcasing our interactive, our film, and our music industries.
So you're going to take it on a road trip, basically, to Austin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so who are some of the key players that are going to be on this bus?
Well, first and foremost, the mayor.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, so he's going out
Wow.
there. Look, I think, one of a big kind of marketing strategy that I have when you're trying to evolve perceptions, which is what we're trying to do with Atlanta, is you've got to meet people where they're at.
Right,
and so they're at South by. So we're going out there. We're making a big deal. We've got the mayor going. Haley Matamag, the CEO of the Metro Atlanta Chamber, of course, will be there. Then we've got the big players like, the founders of Yik Yak, which is the most popular app amongst millennials right now. Right. Those young guys are going to be out there with us. We've got the production team of The Walking Dead. They're going to be out there. And then we have some amazing music lined up. We have over 140 companies going out there that will be represented as part of kind of this delegation. So this really shows me that Atlanta, especially Atlanta business, is ready to get out there and kind of have a beat our chest moment.
Right, yeah. and invest in that.
And invest in it, and be proud. And
Right.
I think it's a lot easier to go out in the world and tell your story as a collective, group of champions for the region, rather than just trying to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So,
or as powerful as social media is, or the internet,
Yep.
You can't beat the in-person and that exchange, right? And the camaraderie and all of the what happens there. So, and speaking of Yik Yak, I mean, that's another success story right out our window, Atlanta Tech Village, and now they've moved and they're definitely blown up, no question. So, so is there going to be a simulcast or any? Can folks here in Atlanta
be a part of it?
Be a part of it, yeah. How would they?
Absolutely. And social is going to be the best way for you to be on the journey. So, Snapchat, Twitter, we're going to be live tweeting, Instagram, of course, and Facebook as well. But Twitter and Snapchat at ChooseATL handle will be the amazing way where you'll be able to capture both the planned moments and some of the unplanned moments.
I want in on the unplanned.
I know. That's always where the secret sauce
happens
is.
at the bar, typically,
So it really is. It's 2 days that we have this venue out there. That's
give us those dates.
ChooseATL. So March 13th and March 14th, we will
right around the corner.
have the ChooseATL House, of which we literally will have 2 full days of official panels, over 30 music acts, again, just some great conversations. And it's really, what I love about it is it's kind of almost like an Epcot Center of Atlanta going out to Austin, where we'll have not only kind of our industry stronghold, but we'll have a cultural overlay of Atlanta happening in that house. So very exciting.
Now, we do pro business on site as one of our offerings. So why wouldn't we be there? Yeah.
I know. Well, you're welcome to come on out.
Happen,
we have some great media opportunities for
Absolutely.
sure.
So just leave a check at the table on the way out the door with Judy at the reception desk. Yeah. But no, well, let's talk about that after off the air and see if we can make something happen there. All right. So Kate, how would folks find out about all this, all the good goings on?
Yeah. ChooseATL.com is our website. You can learn more just about the ChooseATL movement and how you as a company can get involved. But for South by, ChooseATL.com/SXSW is the best way you can see the full lineup of events for activation in South by. And then again, I encourage everybody to kind of follow us on social media at ChooseATL is our handle, and you can kind of be a part of the whole journey. Perfect.
Well, pleasure reconnecting, revisiting with you after so many years. Hopefully it won't be as long next time, but thanks for being here. Enjoy the road trip, and we'll be following you, if not on the road, virtually on the road. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rich.
Absolutely. All right, so now let's turn our attention to Trace. And beforehand, just want to remind our listeners you're listening to Georgia Business Radio here in our Buckhead studios in the Pro Business Channel studio. So, so Trace, bring us up to date what you've been doing recently. But as you mentioned, you're a consultant with the Small Business Development Center, the CEO and co-founder of City Data Company, which is creators of event mapping technology, Walkabout. Maybe let's do some walkabouting over in Austin, right?
Yeah, they've got a lot of great technology solutions with South by Southwest.
Yeah, and you're also an advocate for the sustainable design, architecture, and economic policy, and the small business that makes it all possible. And so you're in the right space, man. If you're talking small business, that's our middle name.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I graduated with my MBA a couple of years ago, I really wanted to use my business knowledge for good. I really didn't want to just get some corporate job
Right.
and just move up the ranks. I wanted to make sure that I was helping others with that knowledge. And I've been very fortunate to have a series of opportunities that have put me in a great position to help other small businesses. Starting with the Ritz Group, which I was on this radio station several times. Well,
Right.
not this one.
Yeah,
before.
exactly. Yeah, but in this studio,
in this studio, yes. With the Ritz Group, helping entrepreneurs and angel investors get connected. That's where I met my co-founders. We started City Data Company, and we do interactive maps for festivals and events. We're also starting a new pilot program called Walkabout Local, which will be helping chambers and other economic development organizations promote their businesses.
Yeah, because I think we have, is it Andrew? We're coming in May, I think, on the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, but originally from Michigan, Ann Arbor, or at least in school up there at one point, right?
Yeah,
Along
absolutely. I didn't leave the state until I was 25. I was born and raised in the west side of the state, just across the Lake Michigan from Milwaukee.
Okay.
In Wisconsin, and then I went to University of Michigan where I got my bachelor's.
Oh, yeah.
And then steadily
Okay.
made my way down south.
So you wanted to check off your first quarter century up there, or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I'm very much from Michigan.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
And so, but before we jump into the SBDC, okay, I meant to ask Kate as well, but as you as well. Have you ever been to Austin or to the South by Southwest?
I have never been myself.
Me neither. Yeah.
As a
Kate, have you been
musician.
there? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
It's been a few years though, and so it's like just grown exponentially
Yeah,
for
yeah.
years. You never know quite what you're going to go back to.
Yeah. Christians are just going to take over all of Texas.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so let's jump into your role, and this is a recent. How long have you been in this position as a business consultant with the SBDC?
I started in October.
Okay.
It really was an ideal fit because it was kind of what I was doing with the Ritz Group. Now I'm able to do it totally for free. We offer totally free business consulting and classes on any topic that you could possibly be interested in from a small business standpoint. So they tapped me to be a bit of the technology. I mean,
That's
I
what
did
I was gonna
start
ask.
my own technology company.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So is that where most of the conversations take place in that role? Is in technology, or for you, or is or maybe percentage wise, it could be.
Yeah, a higher percent. It really kind of centers around digital marketing and building a sales organization, which are two really key areas. I mean, 50% of small businesses don't have a website. So
Really?
Yeah, still.
That's crazy.
Which is mind blowing.
At least a landing page or a GoDaddy for But I've noticed that too. We have guests in here, and we're struggling. It's like they don't exist online, and if you don't exist online, the perception is you don't exist.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of holdouts. Across the country. In more rural areas, smaller urban areas, in which business has still done a lot of hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff. But it's becoming much more of a problematic, really, to not have a digital
presence,
voice.
And it is. There are exceptions where if you're a retail store or a service provider, just locally, just hyper local only to that market, and you've established that over years. You don't have to be all over. Certainly, you don't have to be all over social media. But it seems like at least a landing page so that people Google and find you. But so talk to us about. So what are some challenges that typically you find small businesses have? You mentioned having a sales force, and which is something that's a key piece of the puzzle we're putting together as well here. So I might pick your brain for free on that on that topic.
For you, Rich, it'll be free.
All right, nice. Yeah. For all of the other callers or listeners, it's at no cost.
Yeah. I mean, sales is a big thing. I mean, a lot of people, it's not just because of my background. Most people come in and say, I need marketing or sales help. Because if they're having problems with sales, it's the obvious thing. You have a... if you have a headache, right, the first question you're going to ask is, did you get hit in the head, right? and then you start diving in deeper. Sometimes you don't have sales, and it's not actually a sales or marketing problem. It could be an operational problem. It could be a deeper problem. Sometimes it's not sales. Sometimes it's actually cash flow is the problem, and not actually revenue. But the most common problem is really marketing and sales, and after that it becomes like growth. Right? It's how do they manage growth? How do they hire their first employees? Which comes with this whole raft of legal and kind of tax issues that you have to be aware of. Otherwise, they'll bury you.
Right.
And so that's really where we come into play. Oftentimes over the lifetime, a small business owner will use us when they need us. Right? The idea is that at some point, we're not a paid business consultant who wants to always identify a new problem for you to pay me to keep fixing.
Or create some of those problems.
Yeah, or create some more problems. So we're looking for you to graduate. Okay. So if you need help with your digital marketing and we put it in place and you're doing it really well, then you've graduated. Then when you have an issue where you're hiring your first employee, then come talk to us and we'll deal with HR issues, you know. And so people will come and go, and I've some of the older business consultants in my office. When I talk to them, they'll have a 7-year relationship with a client. Wow! And sometimes a year will go by without really dealing with a new problem. But they want to be there for the lifetime of a business.
Because, like in life, business is a living, breathing organism, and it has life cycles and benchmarks, right, and expansion, and so. How many can you possibly kind of juggle at one time? But I guess I don't know if that's really a good question because, like you said, some are kind of all in and need services pretty intense, and others are kind of on autopilot.
Well, we're jointly funded by the SBA and by the University of Georgia. And so we do have certain benchmarks they want us to hit. On the whole, it's we're here to grow the economic pie of Georgia through capital formation, whether that's debt or equity financing, through hiring people. The more employees businesses have, the more payroll taxes are getting paid, and the more that the city and the state can put into great programs that can help draw more business and keep growing the economic pie. So, we have certain benchmarks of how many we're supposed to be with every year. But, we're not in the business of turning people away. So if you need help, we're here to help you.
Okay, cool. And so are there, what's a day look like, a day in the life look like for you? What's a good day, I guess, look like for you?
Well, generally, a good day is when I've helped the most amount of people I possibly could in a 10-hour span. It's a lot. I spend a lot of time on the phone, a lot of time emailing with people, and meeting with people face to face. So my office is all of Fulton County.
Wow.
So when our main office is downtown on Georgia State's campus. Okay. And so obviously Fulton County is a very long county. And so I spend half my time up in Alpharetta. Georgia State has a 2-building campus up there off of Old Milton Parkway. So I spend half my time up there, half my time downtown, servicing North Fulton.
Right. And so are there events or seminars or workshops in addition to this, or is it more online, in person, or what's kind of some offerings, I guess?
The two things that we're all about are in-person, one-on-one business consulting. Okay. And then we do hold lots and lots of classes, several a month. In fact, our next big one coming up is called Grow Smart. It's a 5-week class, so it's 5 Thursdays, I believe, in a row. It's only for businesses that are second or year or later, are in that kind of growth phase. And they just take a deep dive into every aspect of the business so that they can be really intelligent about their growth.
And when and where do those take place? Or you mentioned Thursday. Is it morning?
It's going to be the next one is going to be starting at the end of the month. Okay. There's still plenty of time to apply. You can apply at georgiaspdc.org. Okay. And if you're chosen, it will be starting, I believe, March 31st. Okay. And it will actually be at Georgia Power's building. Not too that way, not too far away.
We're on radio, and he's pointing.
Exactly.
Nice, Trish.
South of here,
South by Southwest.
South by Southwest,
but not in Austin yet.
Yeah, so it'll be on Georgia Power's building.
Okay.
They're a big supporter
Partner,
of the program.
Awesome. So you mentioned where they would kind of register, but what are some other point of contacts for the SBDC?
Well, they can always email me directly. Okay. I'm always happy to answer any questions, and that's rcrow, R as in Richard, and then crow like the bird, at georgiasbdc.org. Or you can call our office at 404-413-7830. And then, of course, georgiasbdc.org is where you can get all of the information about the organization statewide.
Yeah, statewide. Okay, awesome. Well, Trace, pleasure having you back in the studio here.
Thank you so
much. And Kate, thanks for joining us. And maybe we'll see you at Georgia Power or in Austin. We're not sure yet. We'll find out. So that wraps up another episode of the Georgia Business Radio Show. Kate, if you want to give out your information one more time, if you would.
Sure. I'd just encourage everybody to check out ChooseATL.com, our wonderful website, and certainly follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat at ChooseATL.
All right. So once again, we'll see you next time. Rich Casanova signing out.
Thank you again for joining Rich Casanova and our guests on the Pro Business Channel. Use the social media links here to share today's show and stay tuned for the next episode of Georgia Business Radio.